Oi, oi, hello and welcome to another GG.CO.UK trends video, kindly sponsored by Boyle Sports. We are now going to be starting to look at the Cheltenham Festival trends. In this video, it's going to be a 10-minute trends video for day one of the Cheltenham Festival. Now, there will be links in the description for each of these videos where I have a written article for each of the races on every single day. As it stands at the time of recording, the National Hunt Chase race hasn't been done. Many of you will know that the rules and criteria for this race have changed this season. Therefore, the trends will be possibly irrelevant. I mean, mostly irrelevant. But what I'm going to do is I'll still write a piece for that race with views to what may still be worth looking at. But for the purpose of this video, and especially to keep it under 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about each of the races, but in quite a sort of condensed view. Now, the trends pieces, I do get that they're not necessarily for everybody, and I know there's different ways that we can look at stuff. So from a betting perspective, sometimes we might want to build a profile or a system that says, look, if you tick these boxes, betting this strategy long-term will make us money. Other times it's just handy to know, for example, 6-year-olds only have won this race. Therefore, when you're looking at a race, it doesn't mean that any other ages cannot win, but it does highlight to you that maybe it's more likely to be a specific type of horse. Now, some of those high level numbers do mean that they might apply to most runners in a race, but it's still well worth looking at, I believe, which is why I put these together for GG, and I know that some of you guys quite like them too. There will also be some condensed cheat sheets for each of the days. So for day 1, 2, 3 and 4, I've done these in the past. They've been very, very popular and they have pointed to multiple winners. In those cheat sheets, I will just give you a one sort of liner, a bit of a paragraph. I say a one liner, a bit of a paragraph. It'll be a couple of lines. Essentially, it'll be a caption that says to you, it has to be this age, look for this, look for this, look for this, look for this, and it will give you the profile of a horse that's going to go well in that particular race. But as I say, I've done in-depth articles for each of these races, so we'll surmise those in this video where I'll talk about some of the key trends, whether they're systems you can back blind in certain parts of this, or whether it is just a numbers piece. So at this point, please make sure you are subscribed to the GG channel. Make sure you're liking the video if you do like the video. Drop a comment below with whatever you would like to say, and we'll crack on. So, Supreme Novices Hurdle, the curtain raiser. It's the race that every trainer, I guess every jockey, every owner, and every punter wants to find the winner of. There are some sort of, I guess, lowbrow, high-level details that will go in here. And the reason why I say they're lowbrow is you've got to be snobby in some of these races, especially when it comes to a Cheltenham Festival. So look, the key trends are they've got to be rated 140 plus, but preferably rated 144 or higher. They should have a season peak RPR of at least 142. I say 142, it should be 140 and then 2. And also, will have finished top 2 on seasonal debut or fell. Now, again, this is very niche, but we've had a couple of horses that have fallen first time up. Everything else has finished top 2 seasonal debut. So you may have a horse that's fallen outside of that bracket and you want to forgive them, do so at your peril. Last round between 20 and 66 days ago, sorry. So that would be true of most horses. Marie National is off for a bit longer. So again, the depth of the article you can look at will help you see where these may have strengths and weaknesses. They've already won a grade 2 or better before now. So they've won a grade 2 or a grade 1. They will not be sporting any type of headgear. Backing the third favourite blind has been a profitable strategy both in the last decade and this century. So there are some high level numbers in there. There are some just of a top trend there, a profitable betting strategy if you were to follow a certain market in. Doesn't mean you get the winner every single year, of course, doing that, but it does mean long term you would make money. But you can read the link in the description for this article to find out a little bit more specifically to the Supreme. Now, another grade 1 on the card is the Arkle Novices Chase. And again, with the trends for these races, I think they profile the type of horse that sort of the level you need to reach. Handicaps can be a little bit more beneficial, maybe looking at these, but I still think these are worth talking about. So in the Arkle, there's been no winning second favourite since 2008. So with that instance, some people would say, glass half full, oh, we're due a second favourite. Glass half empty, a second favourite will never win the Arkle again, people might say. 9 runners were priced 6 to 4, all short of this century, and every single one of those won. So that'll be a big standing point if Sergino does line up. I know he's having issues at the moment, but fingers crossed he gets there because he'll be an odds-on favourite. Only one runner in the last decade that was rated 161 or higher didn't win. but it was beaten by a higher rated runner. So long story short, if you're rated 161 or higher, you're going to win the Arkle unless there's a horse rated higher than you in the race. Again, could be true for Sagino and Masborough this season. Fingers crossed they both get there. They will have won last time out, and they last ran between 31 and 60 days ago. Ideally, they've won a grade 1, but they must have at least won a grade 2. And they can't have lost over fences more than once. So we do have horses that may have fallen. There could be reasons why horses get turned over in a clash, but you would only forgive a horse, especially in the Arkle, for losing a chase race once so far in their career. Moving on swiftly, we'll go to the Ultima handicap chase. This is one where we can profile winners. We've given the winner of this for a couple of times looking at types of horses. And I think profiles for these races are important to know. Many people that have followed the festival for years will know some of the obvious ones, like don't want it to be an Irish trained winner, and second season novices, and novices have good records in these races. But if you are fairly new to Cheltenham, then these are sort of not ones that stand the test of time, but they're almost a given. Most people just expect to know these types of things. But of course, some of you may not know this, so I'll put them in here and I'll reiterate what those trends can mean. Sometimes as well, they get so easily said year in, year out, that actually they're no longer trends. They're way past their sell-by date. And this is where looking at these year on year can help us see if there's about to be a shift or whether we continue as usual. Look, they're going to likely be aged between 7 and 9 years old. Most winners come from the top 5 in the betting. Sounds obvious, but this is a 20 plus runner handicap. Second, third and fifth in the market are profitable to back blind as well. So there's one of the little systems I talked about. Runners weighted between 11 stone 3 and 11 stone 8 with an official rating between 139 and 146 have accounted for 4 of the last 11 winners, including the last 2, and that's a 30% return on investment. So again, I talk about weights, I talk about official ratings in here, but you could pair those two together for a money spinner in the last 11 renewals, really. No more than 5 wins over fences would be the preference for these horses. Ideally, they've got between 1 and 3 chase wins. Likely to be a first or second season chaser. They will have already run at Cheltenham. 9 of the last 10 winners sported cheek pieces, blinkers, or a tongue tie. So where I talked about that being a negative for a Suprema Grade 1 race, in the Ultima, 9 of the last 10 have had cheek pieces, blinkers, or a tongue tie. Irish trained runners are 0 from 45 since 2006. We'll move on. Champion Hurdle. You probably would like to think at this stage we don't really need trends to work out the Constitution who's going to win this, but we'll talk about it anyway. They're likely to be aged 6 to 8 years old. You've got to respect favourites. They are profitable to back blind this century and in the last decade. So again, not be a big money spinner, but it will make you money and it will find you winners. They will have an official rating of 160 plus and preferably 165 plus. That's including the mare's allowance. So a mare rated 158, you put 7 onto that to make them 165. They are expected to have won last time out, preferably has already won at Cheltenham, desirable to have won over 70% of their hurdle races, and will have already won multiple grade 1s. Now, moving on to the mare's hurdle trends. They will be aged 7 or younger. Now, 7-year-olds have been profitable to back blind. There's been lots of different horses that have come in here that have been turned over. If you just backed every 7-year-old since this mare's hurdle came about in 2008, you'd be making money. Ideally, they won last time out, and that is another strategy that is profitable to back blind. They last ran between 31 and 60 days ago. I say about this race being introduced in 2008, I've just dropped these trends down to be in the last decade because Quevega was such a sort of routine winner of this race. So when I talk about the last round between 31 and 60 days, people that have been involved in the festival for longer will know that she used to come here fresh. That's not the case anymore. The profile's changed. Has won 50% or more of their hurdle races though. Has already won a grade 2 before now or better. And 7 of the last 10 winners were not the highest rated runner in the field. You might expect when you get to these top tier graded races that look, you just look to the upper echelons. 7 of the last 10 winners were not the highest rated runner in the field. Fred Winter Trends, which is the last race I've done on day one because the National Hunt Chase has changed as touched on, but there will be an article for that. The Fred Winter Trends, the Boodles, will not have already raced at Cheltenham. Sorry, Stencil. Will have won a hurdle race if having more than 3 runs over hurdles. Probably has 5 or fewer runs over hurdles. Look away from the favourite in this race. Oh, Gaelic. Respect winners of the 4-year-old rated novice hurdle in Naas, 8th of February this year. Bacchanalian won this race this year, so that's been shortened up a bit off the back of that. preferably not wearing a tongue tie. They've got a bad record in this race. But like I say, there's links in the description. You can read the specifics for each of these particular articles. And we'll be back again next week for 10-minute trends for day 2.